Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity-TV and a new episode of our online interview series. And we are happy to get an update from Corey Dias from Anfield Energy, the CEO. And as you know, uranium is hot, but uranium companies becoming even hotter. So welcome and hi to Canada. How are you, Corey?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm well, thanks. Enjoying the changing weather over here. It's now fall. We've got a few hot days, a few cool days, but as you said, the market itself is getting hotter. So we're happy to be involved.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, you guys are really doing a great job so far. You also brought on UEC as one of your big shareholders, and you have done a property deal with them, and did also a board deal. So can you please comment a bit on that?
Sure. A few months ago, we started looking at the possibility of removing the debt that we had on our books through our Uranium One acquisition back in 2015. Subsequent to getting that debt removed, UEC acquired the debt from Uranium One. We negotiated with UEC to remove the debt, and it resulted in both a swap of properties. So our Wyoming ISR properties were swapped for UEC's conventional asset known as Slick Rock. And we also raised some money through both Haywood and Red Cloud in order to fund part of the settlement agreement that we'd signed with UEC. So we paid them $9 million of cash, provided them $9 million worth of shares, and we swapped some properties with UEC. And that resulted in us being debt-free and having another conventional asset within our portfolio that dovetails nicely with our Shooter and Canyon mill.
Super. And you named it already, production is something what you will do in the future for sure. As I can imagine, as we are both very convinced of the uranium markets in the future. I think you also got a new chairman who is really well known in the production scene.
Absolutely. Ken Mashinsky. This has been, in the works for quite a while. Ken came to us through Cotter Corporation, which is owned by General Atomics, which is a weapons defense manufacturer out of San Diego. Ken was president of Cotter Corporation when we acquired the West Slope properties from him back in 2018. He recently retired from General Atomics, and that provided us with an opportunity to get him on our board. We've been very happy with him coming on board, given his experience, not only with the assets that we've acquired, but he also was president of Quasar Resources, another subsidiary of General Atomics, which was a 5 million pound per year uranium producer out of Australia. He's also on the management committee of ConverDyn, so he's very familiar with the conversion side of the business, and was also involved with NFC, the Nuclear Fuel Corporation, owned by General Atomics. This company was also into sales and marketing of material, not only uranium, but also UF6 and other enriched materials related to uranium. So he runs the gamut when it comes to experience related to production. I think this underlines our commitment to moving forward to production, so we're really happy to have him on board.
Super. I'm also happy because I'm a shareholder of your company still. So what will be then your next steps? I mean, you got rid of the debt. You have now the money in the bank. You can really start or restart the work. You have the right guy as chairman. So what's next? What do you want to do? What are your immediate steps to prepare for a production decision?
Sure. Well, look, we're aiming to get to production by 2024. And so that's going to take a few different steps. First of all, we have to refurbish our mill. The mill itself is in great shape. It's standing, it's constructed, one of only 3 licensed, permitted, and constructed conventional uranium mills in the U.S. The cost to refurbish that is going to be between $25 and $35 million. We're also going to look to add a vanadium circuit because the mines that we have in Colorado especially are vanadium-rich properties that could potentially provide a new opportunity for us in terms of a business. Look at something like a Largo Resources and what they've done on the vanadium side. It certainly could provide a blueprint for us. And then we're also looking to restart the mines that we have, Velvet Wood, West Slope, and longer term, we say Slick Rock. But Velvet Wood is relatively close to the mill. Looks like it'd be our first feed into the mill. We're updating the PEA related to Velvet Wood. We may look to update the PEA or put out a PEA related to West Slope in the relative near term. And so, so the market can understand the economics of us restarting the mill and having feed for the mill. So those are the near-term plans. We've got the mill and the work that we're doing to get a refurbishment plan in place, working with the state of Utah to get the mill side moving, and then in the interim, getting an updated resource for Velvet Wood and putting out a PEA for Slick Rock, so the market can understand our plan.
Okay, and about what money are we talking about that you get this, let's say, at least one project and restarted for production?
Yeah, I mean, the cost to put a mine into production, if we're looking at West Slope, the cost is so minimal, it's less than $1 million per mine.
$1 million?
Wood, yes, because the mines have been run, the last time the mine was open there was 2006, but the adits are there, everything is open, the equipment's still in the mines. There's very little capex related to restart over at the West Slope. Velvet Wood, probably kind of between $5 and $10 million to restart that. But the value of the rock within the mine is significantly higher than the cost to get it up and started again. So we think it's relatively quick and cheap to get up in production when it comes to our mines.
Okay, super. And you have that in cash so far now, or do you need a new cash injection next year then probably for that?
Well, we have about $6 million sitting in the bank right now. So we can fund, things like the refurbishment plan related to the mill out of the current funds. The restart of the mines, as I mentioned, West Slope is relatively low, so we could certainly start mines there. But we also want to make sure that we have the mill side moving along and well down the road before we start looking at opening up any of the mines. We're going to be spending our time looking at the economics of all the projects, explaining to the market this is the real value of these assets, in this hub and spoke strategy that we've put together with the mill right in the middle and all these mines on the outside. So, as long as we've got those economics out in the marketplace, I think that's going to be the next step that we're going to be focused on. And obviously, refurbishing the mill, we'll have to go back to market to fund it, whether that's through debt and equity. That's something we'll decide down the road.
Okay, the uranium price today is $49, as I looked at it this morning approximately. And would that be enough for you to restart, or would you feel more comfortable to say, maybe 55, 60, and then we are on the real safe side? Because you want to make money finally, right?
Of course. I think it's important to note that nobody's opening up mines or starting production at $49. I think the price should have to move significantly for anyone to start, considering turning on any mines. But we think the market's going much higher than where it is today. I think triple digits is not out of the question at all. And I think once we get to, we're on our path to that position, I think there'll be an opportunity for us to not only open our mines, but get the mill up and running and look at other opportunities for toll milling of other mines owned by third parties. So it's not a today thing. I think, given our conversations with utilities are aware that the price is going up much higher than $49, and they're trying to lock in material today because of the risk of not being able to lock anything in the relative near term. Everyone understands the macro in the marketplace, supply demand imbalance, supply demand disruption. So the utilities are looking for ways to get material locked up. But most parties, especially given our small size of production, we're about 1 million pounds per year projected. We're not going to lock up 1 million pounds at $50 to $60. It doesn't make any sense. We're going to remain unhedged as long as we can, because we don't need to have a contract in place for us to get funding to refurbish the mill. We can certainly do it, through debt and equity, because everybody knows where the market's going, and it's going much higher. So we're not, we don't see any need to lock ourselves in.
When do you think, you are also in the uranium markets as a future producer, of course, and I'm sure, or let's put it that way, I'm sure you do not have the crystal ball, but what is your personal feeling? And that is, I don't see this as a forward-looking statement for sure, but just what is your personal feeling? When could this market really start? Because you're talking now since 2 years about those imbalances, and sure, uranium price has moved from $20 now to, let's call it 50, and we saw 62 already in between. But when do we see, let's say, the next substantial move, let's say to 75, 80, for example? What is your feeling?
I think it's going to be in the next 12 months, 6 to 12 months. The market itself doesn't, when it starts to move, it doesn't move incrementally. It moves, very, very rapidly. And that's what happened back in 2006, 2007. It moved very, very quickly. And I think, the market is slowly coming around to understanding that there's no way to replace, any mines that have gone offline in the near term. The fact that you can't produce at $25 or $50 and nobody wants to, I think that's also affected the market. And I think because the general market is now getting involved in understanding, wait a second, this is this market has a ridiculous kind of, cost benefit, view, that the downside here is minimal, but the upside is, astronomical. I think the market's now coming around to understand that this doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think people are looking at understanding the geopolitical side and the geopolitical risks associated with uranium. You've got Russia involved, when it comes to conversion and enrichment. And I don't know if that's ever coming back. I don't know if the West will ever be using, the facilities coming out of Russia again. And so that needs to be replaced. And so it's going to take some time and money in order to replace and upgrade the facilities that are located in the West. You've got China getting closer to Kazatomprom or Kazakhstan. So looking for supply for its own nuclear reactors, which means that it could be less supply coming west. And I think that's putting a lot of fear into kind of Western utilities. And now they're scrambling to look for supply. And so that puts us in a great position. And that's why I think, there's a huge upside opportunity for us here. And I think that's why, the price will start moving up pretty significantly, because I think, once material gets locked up coming out of Kazakhstan, there are very few other places to go look for material. I mean, obviously you've got Cameco, but there's limited supply and there's more demand. It's very clear there's more demand than there is supply, and that's not going to change, certainly not at $50.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I see it the same way. Super, Corey. It looks like you guys are well prepared. 2024 hopefully is your starting year for the production. That would be great. You said 1 million pounds per year. Could this be even more in the future? Let's say 2026, 2027?
It could. We're limited by our current license. There's certainly opportunities for us to look for the license to expand it, to produce more. A lot of it is driven by grade too. I mean, if you've got higher grade material, you can run more pounds through or more tons through the mill and get more pounds out of whatever you're producing. So there's certainly upside opportunities. I think the way that we're looking to get into production is to use the existing license as is and then amend once we're in production. So we look to increase the capacity.
Fantastic. Super. Corey, thank you very much for the update. I think all looks great. And let's rock it. Go in production, because the world needs also your uranium. That is for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Corey Dias, the CEO of Anfield Energy. And you heard it, by 2024, the company wants to be in production with the first mine. So probably 1 million pounds is a good starting plan here per annum. And of course, we have not yet discussed about costs, but that is a little bit too early, honestly. We will do that probably next year, then in a follow-up. And but things are looking good. The company is still cashed up with over $6 million in the bank. And you heard it, the first mine they can bring in production with approximately only $1 million. So they are well prepared. And also, I think with the next mine between $8 and $10 million, that is absolutely makeable and financeable. And honestly, the share price is still way too low. I am a shareholder of the company. You maybe should think about doing the same. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Austria today.